Y'all, this is about the third or fourth take of this episode. Welcome back to Lily of the Valley Coaching. This is your host, Bernadette. I would say I don't know what's going on here, but I have a feeling I do. Whenever this kind of content is really going to expose very specific things about very specific people or very specific types of people, it lets me know who my listeners are, at least one of them. Okay, listen, I think one out of the total number that I have following me here is not somebody that supports me. Okay, because if I'm having so many takes of the same episode and I keep on having to re-record, something's up. Okay, that lets me know that one of my listeners is my karmic. The one that I'm going to be bringing up today as a glaring example of what you should be discerning about. All right, so let's get into it. This is episode 1 of the series I'm doing on the types of karmic. Okay? Now, for future reference and for background reference, I suggest you pick up the book. And I'm talking to my twin flame girlies here. Pick up The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. It highlights the type of seduction and different types of women that go after your man. Not every single one of them is the same. Okay? Pick up The Art of Seduction. It's going to very much illuminate you on the specific pathologies and specific traits and the specific ways that different types of karmic women go after your twin flame. Okay, your divine masculine. All right, so this is going to be very important for you guys. Bookmark this episode. Okay, and if you like this content, give me a follow so you don't miss anything. Okay, because I do have ADHD and I don't run on the schedule. Okay. All right. So let's get into the traits of the destiny swapping karmic. This is the one that's not after your man, but they're after everything else. They are after specifically your destiny. They are after specifically the spiritual part of your destiny, i.e., what you're supposed to do as far as influence, what you're supposed to do as far as making a difference in the world. Okay? So they're placed there on purpose. Now, in episode 2, I'm going to be getting into the romantic rival. Okay? And if there is a part 3, I'll let you know, depending on how much I cover in 1 and 2. All right? So let's get into it. Let me just pull up my notes here, my loves. Now, first off, why do these karmics feel the need to copy you? The first thing that you should know as a basis, as a foundation, that these karmics, the one thread that they have in common with all other types of karmics is that they don't have their own personality. They don't have their own sense of self. So they basically, and refer back to my Frankensteining episode, they Frankenstein little bits and pieces. You're not the only divine feminine that they're taking from. Okay? You're not the only one. So these types of envious people will copy others for several psychological reasons. One is social comparison and self-evaluation. Their envy often arises from upward social comparison, where they feel inferior to you because they perceive you as either more successful, attractive, or accomplished. Okay? So to reduce the gap, they may mimic your behaviors, your style, your achievements in an effort to appear equally valued or successful. And when they can't do that, they will try to downplay all of the things that they can't copy. That's the kind of elephant in the room. And if they don't consider you more attractive, eventually they will try to borrow an aesthetic of yours that they don't feel is copying. I'll give you an example. I have been wearing glasses since about 2021, 2021, something like that. And good couple of years now, because my eyes are going, guys, okay? And I'm not a young bitch. I'm in my late 40s. I'm going to be 50 next year, okay? So, the my eyes are going, okay? So I've been in glasses for a good 5 years now, right? So this person that I'm referring to as a glaring example, because I teach by personal examples and personal stories, this person has recently started borrowing my cute nerdy girl aesthetic, but she tries to put her own sexy, quote unquote, spin on it. Listen, man, never once have you ever worn glasses in your entire life. Never. Because these narcissist types, they love talking about themselves all the time. They'll talk about everything that's going on in your life. Not once have you ever mentioned having bad eyes. Not once. Now, all of a sudden, you want to be the nerdy girl aesthetic. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, you're into fishing. You're into camping. You're into poetry. You're into writing a book. First off, with them long claws, how the hell are you going to live camp life? You can barely wipe your own ass right with them long fucking nails. How the hell are you going to be camping and fishing? It's things that are very gritty that require you to get your hands dirty. How? You're going to chop your own wood? Because I can. You're going to bait and catch your own fish? Because I can. You're going to hunt for your food? Because I can. And this is the thing that I'm trying to say, guys. Let's look at another real life example that we saw play out on social media. About 3 months back, the late Valeria Marquez was gunned down in cold blood due to jealousy, due to envy. Now, I also wanted to talk about what is the difference between jealousy and envy. Jealousy is something that you are holding close to vest, that you feel very overly protective of. Like your man, like your family, like your job, like your house, anything that belongs to you. You don't want the threat of somebody trying to take away or infringe upon. Envy is when somebody like the Karmic feels you shouldn't have those things and that they should. So while it has a similar energy, it's two different monsters. Okay? Because if they feel jealous, let's give it the example of, let's say that this is a romantic rival Karmic. They're going to feel like that's their man, that you took their man, even though, and everybody's story is different, okay? I was engaged to mine. I was literally engaged to mine. And this fish-faced bitch was waiting in the fucking wings, okay? Just waiting behind the fucking curtain like a fucking stalker. Sorry, the New York just came out, sorry. You hear the accent, sorry. Okay, So what happened with Miss Valeria Marquez is a glaring example of how envy can ultimately be destructive. This is why people like me make these types of episodes and put out this kind of content to keep you safe. The more you know, the safer you'll be. Another reason is desire for admiration. Again, highlighting this person that I'm dealing with, okay? Especially individuals with narcissistic traits. Oh boy, yeah, that's her, okay? Copying is a strategy to attract admiration or validation. Now, she's lately been on this kick of, she is in her mid-30s, okay? So she getting there, she chugga towards 40, okay? She getting there. Before you know it, 40 gonna be right there, honey, okay? And she's aware of this. She's painfully aware of this. Why? Because she has not found a relationship. What did I tell you guys before in the other, I think it was the last one that I did, the episode that I did. The thing that you want the most will elude you if you don't humble yourself. This is not a humble person. Certain blessings are attached to certain virtues. And if you don't have those virtues, they will continue to elude you. This is what we call doing the work. So, again, especially in these individuals with narcissistic traits, this is a way to get a different type of validation. Now, she's been coasting on her sexuality and beauty, which, by the way, is enhancements. She's right up there with Huda Mustafa, right up there. They look like literally they could pass for twins. The same aesthetic. The straight black hair with the part down the middle and the big lips and the teeny nose and the big fan eyelashes and just, and a lot of them are very, very, no shade to my tiny girl, my petite girlies, but this one, I'm just going to say, she's small. She's a small girl. Me, I'm 5'8". I'm not that tall myself, but I'm considered, at 5'8", when the average American female is about 5'3" or 5'4", or even 5'2", I'm considered above average in height. Okay, I'm not as tall as my sisters. My one sister is 5'11", and my other sister is 6 feet. Okay, so I obviously didn't get the tall gene, but I got a little bit. Okay, so when the beauty and the sexuality, you realize, as being an overthinker like she is, there's a lot of anxiety. This is why she doesn't live by herself, because it's like, those demons that she been using would come back for payment. So she has to be under the hedge of protection of her Christian parents, because whatever small amount of Christianity is still in her, at least that part knows, I'm not going to leave this house because I'm protected. I mean, she tries to play it off that her candles and shit and all of that stuff is doing the protecting, but I'll both know that it ain't, because if that was the case, you'll be able to take that into your own home and be able to be on your own in your mid-30s, okay? But yet you're going to sit here and give people psychological, thoughts and do rituals and everything, and and what kills me is that with the love rituals, it's like, how the fuck are you going to sit there and do rituals when you can't attract that for yourself? So everybody else is getting their love, getting their love, getting their love, and you're getting diddly squat. You get nothing. Let me just make sure this was all the way high here because I felt like it was a little low. Anyway, so now because she can't coast forever because she's getting to 40 pretty fucking quick, okay? Before you know it, 40 is going to hit. We all know how fast time has been going. She'll be hitting 40 pretty fucking quick. And that's going to be a very sobering reality to her. Okay? Because then you're officially not young anymore. Okay? And with all of the beauty and sexuality she's been coasting on and funneling from, she realizes that when that runs out, because eventually it will run out, how is she going to pay her bills? How is she going to, A, keep up her lifestyle, and B, how is she going to put food in her stomach? Because if you're going to be living in that house, especially in a Latino household, you got to pull your weight. You're going to have to pull your weight. So if you can't keep doing this, using your beauty and your sex, then you're going to have to get a regular job like the rest of us. And that's going to be a very sobering experience for her. Having no skills at all in the real world, in the real job world, she's going to be stuck. I mean, I've seen the trajectory of her future and it does not look good. It's a very sad end. Very, very sad end. But let's continue. By adopting the qualities or successes of others, they attempt to steal the limelight and enhance their own self-importance or status. How does this look? The same things that they wanted to do themselves because they know that you're supposed to do something. When you beat them to it, and I have a very, very clear example, a very real life example that happened. She wanted to write a book, and I wound up getting my book out before, and she hasn't even started writing her book, and she bought a freaking MacBook M1. You know, and all of these things that she, quote unquote, wants to do is an excuse to be able to flex that she can buy expensive equipment. But she's done nothing with it. That MacBook M1 is sitting collecting dust somewhere in wherever the hell she is. Okay? So this attempt to try to destiny swap with me has you out $3,000 with an MacBook M1. Okay? Because MacBooks ain't fucking cheap. Okay? Especially if they're brand new with all the accoutrements. And what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I got my book out. It's on Amazon. It's literally on Amazon as we speak. Okay, so I get my book out. I launch the book. Make the announcement that I launched the book. Not even 30 seconds later. Guys, it was so fucking quick the way this happened. I go to check my stats because I got as an Amazon author, you get the emails, you know, this person, you know, what, you know, bought whatever. Okay, I get a rating. Now, mind you, my connected bank account didn't get a ping of a payment for said book, but yet I got a rating of a 1-star review. So you didn't buy the book so you can read it, so you can trash it. But yet you, because you're salty that I got this book out before you, you gave it a 1-star review. And then gets on Instagram with a very salty looking face, with the I forget what the caption was, but the sound that she used was, "This chapter of my life is called My Turn, and I'm unapologetic as fuck about it." It's been what, 2 years? Not a single page in her book has been written. Because this is a narcissist, right? So we should be knowing the play-by-play of everything that's going on in her little mind, right? Nothing. Nothing. So when she started podcasting too, I was like, okay, I mean, let's see. You supposedly have so much to say. Okay, you got a big mouth. You like to bash Christianity. You like to bash God. You like to bash twin flames. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see how much you have to say. She got three whole episodes. That's it. And she's stopped after that. What happened? I thought you had so much to say. What happened? ¿Qué pasó? Like, and this is the point that I'm trying to make with these types of people. When you attempt to destiny swap, you don't have the sauce to be able to do what we're supposed to do in our own destiny. It's meant for us, darling. I mean, no shade. Listen, clearly you don't have a positive role model. You got two Christian parents there that are not doing what Christians are supposed to do and kind of steer you the right way. So you're out here trying to steal people's destinies, while under the same roof, being under the hedge of protection of said Christian parents, but yet mocking Christians. Like, how the fuck does that work, guys? Can you please, somebody in the comments explain this to me? I don't know. And then, when you beat them to the punch of what they wanted to do, then they try to twist it and make it that it's not that important to be a writer. Not that important to be this. Not that important to be that. Meanwhile, my Mercury is in Gemini, hence this podcast. Okay? Which is literally communication. Podcasting is something that you don't have to be beautiful or be gussied up in order to put out content. And this is the fundamental thing where she's like, I can't put my beauty and my sexuality into this. So how is this going to return dividends for me? It's not hard to figure out these karmics. This is why I offer these coaching services as a service, because I can take a look at your situation and let you know what their next move is going to be. Without cards. Without cards. I don't need the cards. I'll do them if you want them, but I don't need to. I've become such an expert in these karmics, starting off as Karmic's worst nightmare and now being the petty psyche, okay? That I know what their next move is going to be. They don't really deviate from the script. Okay? They're not that surprising. Okay? Moving on. Lack of sense of self. What did I just tell you guys? Some envious karmics copy because they lack a clear sense of their identity. Hello? If they see someone else achieving positive attention, they may imitate that person's behavior or ideas as a shortcut to gain acceptance or approval. Episode over. I don't have to say anything else. No, I'm kidding. This is going to be kind of a long one. I don't think I really have to explain that. I just explained that in the previous part here. It all goes back to Frankensteining. They will never admit it, but you're the blueprint. Why else would they be copying you? Another thing, when they can't see who's following them, because this is all about hive mind, okay? When they can't see who's following them, something goes on in their mind, because then they can't control the narrative. They don't know who's following them because they like them, or who's following them because they're following because they don't like them, and they're looking to see them fuck up. And the anxiety ensues. Oh shit, I better watch what I say, or, how the hell you have so much to say and you only dropped 3 episodes? Hello? It's going over a week now that you haven't dropped anything new. Everything else in your spiritual career, quote unquote, has some consistency. They know to expect this from you, and this from you, and this from you. How come you're dropping the ball on this? Because you can't funnel it back to your beauty and sexuality. You can't. How? Once they've heard what you have to say, there's not much else. So what do? Drop a few thirst traps. Again, funneling it back to the beauty and sexuality. It always, no matter how deep they try to make themselves appear, or wise they try to make themselves appear, or thought-provoking they try to make themselves appear, it all goes back down. Goes right back, circles right around back to dropping a thirst trap. It's been so long since I took a selfie, yeah? We know what your face looks like, darling. We've seen every angle. And this is the hamster wheel that they're on. Because if one venture proves to be not so lucrative, they abandon it and move on to another one. All in an attempt to seem deep and thought-provoking and wise and deeply spiritual. But then, if that's the case, then how come you're going back to your beauty and sexuality? Why? If you're deep and thoughtful and thought-provoking and very insightful, then you would not need to support it or back-end it or bookend it with a carousel of thirst traps. It's disingenuous. And we see right through it. Another reason is insecurity and low self-esteem. Feelings of inadequacy or insecurity drive some karmics to copy those they envy, hoping to boost their own credibility or sense of worth by acquiring qualities they feel they lack. Hello? Case in point. They put their foot in their mouth years ago by saying, I don't need perfect English to be successful, but yet you want to be a writer. How does that work? A career that really depends on you having a good command of the English language that you were bashing years ago. Now all of a sudden you want to hop on the bandwagon, right? Another reason, benign versus malicious envy, okay? Now, which one is it? There is a benign envy, which is, well, let's just get to the description. Hold on. Psychological research distinguishes between 2 types of envy: benign envy, which motivates positive self-improvement through imitation, okay? Like your favorite influencer, okay? As long as they're a decent person that's an influencer, being inspired by them. That's benign envy, okay? Ooh, I gotta jump on this trend of, doing this, but there's no maliciousness because you don't have no connection to that content creator, okay? They don't have something you want, but if something seems to be a good business model, they'll try to model it, okay? That's benign envy, okay? Benign is a word that you use like if somebody is getting tested for cancer, right? And they test the cell and it comes back benign, that means it's non-cancerous. It's not sick. It's not how do I benign meaning it's not sick, it's clear of any cancer cells, okay? Or malicious envy. Okay, so this is benign versus malicious. Malicious envy, which can involve copying as a form of hostility, aiming to undermine or outdo the envied person instead of improving oneself. The one-upmanship. Okay, and if they can't one-up you, they will try to downplay your accomplishments because they can't keep up. Or they'll abandon their project that they're trying to do right along with you and compete with you because everything's a competition with them. They'll abandon it completely. Hello, 3 episodes with this chick. Subconscious mimicry. Sometimes they don't even know that they're mimicking you, okay? But with these karmics, I think they do, okay? Sometimes copying behaviors occur without conscious intent, as people naturally pay close attention to and mimic those whom they envy, even while critiquing them, okay? Now, what does this mean? They may not know that they're being envious by, and let me give you an example. Who does she think she is? I wouldn't have done it that way. There are some people, now granted, listen, I have a Libra moon, so I understand how people's minds work. And that's coupled with my Mercury and Gemini. I'm very quick-witted, so I can understand both sides of a coin. There are some people that can listen to this podcast and say, well, Bernie, you're doing the same thing. I mean, my true blues won't say that, but, some people can say that, they'll see my pointing out and exposing something to protect my, you guys are my familia, but my group, my collective. They'll see me trying to protect my collective as being envious if I point something out, right? That's what this means. In summary, copying is a complex reaction fueled by envy, insecurity, and self-perception. It may manifest as a quest for improvement, validation, or competition, sometimes constructive, but often rooted in discomfort with one's own status or abilities, okay? So I hope that I have given you something to chew on, okay? I will be coming back. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or the next day. Again, ADHD, so I don't run on this schedule. You're just going to have to follow to find out when I do post. I'll be talking about the romantic rival karmic, okay? So stay tuned for that one. If you like this episode, if you like this content, don't be a stranger. Join the familia. Give me a follow. All right? I love you guys. Kiss, kiss. Hug, hug. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.